Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I give my reading update for the week of 6/28/2026 through 7/4/2026. I completed 2 books, so I talk briefly about those 2 books. I read parts of 2 other books, so I talk briefly about those 2 books. I talk about my reading plans for the near future. I talk about the videos I released. I talk about the crochet projects I worked on. I talk about the video games I played. I talk about the music I listened to. And I talk about some other things going on in my life too. The first book I completed was The Other Ancient Civilisations by Todd DaSilva. This book has 20 chapters, each of which talks about an ancient civilization that's not that well known. And I really like this book because typically you're going to hear about Rome, about Greece, about maybe ancient China, the Mayans, the Incans. You can hear about those well-known civilizations, but it's good to hear about some others. Some I had heard of, some I hadn't. The author does a great job. Each chapter begins with a short page or so story of what the life of a person or persons would likely have been like for a few hours in their life. There's a lot of great photos. The author provides archaeological evidence, talks about how the civilization started, like where the people came from that started the civilization, their peak, their fall. So I very much enjoyed this book. I rated it 4 stars. The second book I completed was Of Mice and Men by Steinbeck. As this book begins, there are 2 men, George and Lenny. They have stopped at a pond for the night. They're on their way to a ranch where they're going to work for a few weeks. They are itinerant workers. I really can't say too much specifically about this book because it's a novella. You can see it's very thin. It's 103 pages. But I did think the book was beautifully written. I could really feel like the location Steinbeck described. And I thought it was a good plot, but I didn't like some of the characters. But I didn't really like the characters, and I didn't agree that some of their actions were justified. I didn't think they really were. So, liked the book, didn't love it. I rated it 3.5 stars. Oh, and I should say Of Mice and Men was the June read for On With the Band, a favorite book club motto by MJ. Read This Life at M-J on here. And I started and read part of 2 books. The first book is Cleat by Meryl Wilsner. This is a sapphic soccer romance. Say soccer for Americans, football for the rest of the world. Grace Henderson is 26, the best women's soccer player in the world. She is very much a shy introvert. She loves playing soccer, but she could take or leave the other trappings of it. For her fame is kind of a double-edged sword. Does allow her to have commercial opportunities, but she's uncomfortable with it too. Phoebe Matthews is 22. She just graduated from college. She was drafted into the AWSL, which is American Women's Soccer League, which is not really a real soccer league, but maybe they didn't want to say NWSL which stands for National Women's Soccer League, the actual top women's soccer league in the U.S. Phoebe has idolized Grace from when she was very young. Phoebe is very outgoing, very jokes a lot, type of person that really can't sit still. Kind of thought she might have a possible, I guess we'll say condition, but it hasn't said in the book, but in a lot of ways the opposite of Grace. But she is, in addition to idolizing her, she's also very attracted to Grace. So I won't say any more than that, but it is an enjoyable book. The second book I started is The Stand by Stephen King. I'm reading this as part of a group read on the Witchwood Coven Discord, the Discord of Steph at Fall into Steph. About 35 years ago, I read this for the first time, and prior to that, I read the shortened version of it. I love the book. Whenever anyone or any prompt or anything like that, or somebody asks what's my favorite Stephen King book, this is the book I say. I have a little trepidation because it's always possible it doesn't live up to your memories. But I'm about 115 pages into it, and I am enjoying it so far a lot. There are some things, it is dated, at least for me, in a little bit of a sense, that there are some actions the characters do or views they have, which I think 35 years ago, I'm sure I wouldn't have liked, but they don't bother me like they do now. What that means is, like, sometimes characters do stuff that it's hard for me to get behind them. But so far I am quite enjoying the book. It's very much it's a huge book. It's about 1,150 pages, and in addition to that, it's a tiny font. So a lot of pages, and added to that is a tiny font. I was fortunate to find the library. As far as my plans for the upcoming week, they are to finish Cleat Code and continue reading The Stand. Next, I want to talk about the videos I released. I released 4. I released my review of Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed, reading update for the week ending 6/27/2028, the bookish Wombling tag, and what if I could never acquire another book. There are 3 books I hope to start soon. One is a Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This is the July read for the On With a Band book club, a Fable book club monitored by MJ. Reading This Life at M-J on YouTube. I did put a request to Libby to get this book. There is one reader ahead of me. I want to start Open Throat by Henry Hoke. This is the July read for Weird Girls, Weirder Fiction, a Fable book club monitored by Laurie. And I want to get back to reading Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko. Possibly I'll start it again because it's been a couple years since I read about a third of it. Now I want to talk about a couple crochet projects I worked on and completed. One is You, the Capybara Wooble. I think You came out pretty well. You was kind of difficult because You is a double-sized wooble. Means the yarn, the crochet hook, the sewing needle, everything is twice as big. And the other crochet project I completed was Solid Square. This is the latest. It's the latest pattern from Everyday Crochet, the Complete Beginner's Guide by June Gilbank that I did. It is not yet blocked and soaked. I may do so, although I'm mainly doing the patterns in this book to practice. This square could be crocheted together with a bunch of other ones to make something much bigger, like possibly an Afghan. But as I said, I'm mostly doing it for practice. So I've talked a lot recently about I want to get back more into crocheting, and I did complete these 2 projects, so I definitely still enjoy it. I have a lot more to learn, so hopefully I'll have more to show in the coming weeks, because I haven't had a lot in recent months to show. Next, I want to talk about the video games I'm playing. I mostly played Tamagotchi Life, Living the Dream. I currently have 20 Miis, 16 I created, 4 that were born on the island. Every day I go in and see what they need, feed them, pat them on the head. If you feed them what they like, it makes them happy, they improve their happiness. If you pat them on the head, that improves their happiness. And they keep leveling up, and they ask you to do stuff, and if you do them, that can help level them up too. I played a little bit of Wildflowers, not too much. There is no major quest at this moment in the game, just small quests. Still enjoying it, but I said before that when there's no major quest for too long, after a certain period of time, I generally move on. And I have played it a lot. Definitely got my money's worth out of it. And I believe I played a little of Lodelnaut. That's the game I talked about previously, where you're a diver and you clean up human refuse and invasive species and underwater locations. I think I played a little bit of that this week. Now I want to talk about the music I listen to. I listen to New Order, Chappell Roan, Hooked on Helen. Hooked on Helen was a band I learned about from videos by Melody at Melody's Book Nook. She's doing a series of videos where she talks about 5 songs in each video that really mean a lot to her. And she said that Hooked on Helen, of the band she talked about, was the least well known, so I thought I'd listen to them first, and I really did like the songs I listened to, so I'll be listening to some more. I listened to Korn. Then I listened to some Spotify playlists that they created for me, and amongst the groups that I listened to from those playlists were Alice Cooper, The Offspring, Green Day, Linkin Park, Wheatus, Nirvana, My Chemical Romance, Avril Lavigne, and Blink-182. Now I want to talk about some other things going on in my life. I went out to eat a few times, went to the mall once and walked, watched some World Cup games, watched a Connecticut Sun WNBA game. We did have some bad storms Saturday night, 4th of July. We weren't affected, but other parts of our town and some surrounding towns and other parts of the state had some trees down, power lines down, some trees fell into people's houses, a lot of power outages, and they're still not all restored. So that was kind of scary. We were fortunate to avoid it. Other than that, I watched a fair amount of YouTube videos, although I'm not watching the number that I would like. Sometimes I find that I somebody whose videos I really liked. I think, well, geez, I haven't watched the video in a while, and I see it's been, go on their channel, it's been 2 or 3 months, so kind of upsetting, but it's kind of only so much I can watch. I would be interested in knowing how your reading week went, what books you're reading, any you might like to recommend, music you're listening to, video games you're playing, sports you're watching, whatever you like to share. If you'd like to, please add a comment. If you don't know what else to comment, please add a lightning bolt emoji for the storms we had. Wonderful. Hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.